Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be talking about ways to organize our thoughts and ways that we can take all these exciting things that we've learned and compare them and organize them. We're going to use a tool called Venn diagrams. But before we get into all that, let's go back and let's dig deep in our brains. Think about all this stuff we learned this week and last week about our characters and about our all of our friends and our stories, and let's think about how different they were. Okay? We're going to think about those things, and then we're going to learn to put them into an organizer and learn to organize these thoughts. So what does a Venn diagram do? What does it look like? It's simple. All it is two circles that we're going to make overlap, like this. You take your circles, and we all know that we're not all good at making perfect circles, but that's okay because this is just for us. So you make your best circle over here, and you want to leave it kind of big so that we have room to write it in. And then you make another circle, but this time it's going to overlap just like that. And see, my circles aren't exactly the same, but they'll work. Now, what do we do with these two circles? It's kind of a funny looking thing. What we're going to do is we're going to compare things. And we talked about when we compare things, we take two or more different things and we talk about how they're alike and how they're different. Well, today, let's use our class for an example. What if I wanted to know how many of our friends liked hot dogs or hamburgers? This would be a great way to do it. What we could do is we can make this side our hot dog side. So you write hot dog. Well, this side can be our hamburger side. So, but now friends, what do we do if I like hot dogs and hamburgers? So where do you think I would go? You are right. You put it right here in the middle. This is for both. Okay? So let's say Susie. Susie likes hot dogs. And so does Matt. But John, he said he's more of a hamburger guy. So I'm going to put John over in the hamburgers. And we already know I like both. So I'll put my name right in the middle. See? It's easy as pie. All you do is you figure out if you have friends that like hot dogs and put them in the hot dog section, or hamburgers and put them in the hamburger section. And then if there are people like me, and you know who else likes both hot dogs and hamburgers? Zach. He told me he likes both. So what you do is you just figure out who likes what and where their name goes. But I have a question. Molly said she doesn't like hot dogs or hamburgers. She doesn't like either of them. What would we do with her name? We gotta include her because we don't want to leave anyone out. We want all of our friends to be included. So what you do is you add their name down here. So we'll put Molly over here. She doesn't eat either, so she doesn't have to go in the circles, which is okay too. All right? Now that we know how to compare two things using a Venn diagram, what if we wanted to compare three things? That's right. You do the same thing. It's just you with three circles instead of two. So this is what it would look like. You draw your first circle over here. One. Then you draw your second circle over here. And they overlap. Two. And then you draw your third circle down below. Three. Now, when you do a Venn diagram with three things to compare, it gets a little tricky because you have a lot of space that overlaps. So, if I wanted to, let's go back to our hot dogs and hamburgers, okay? So this will still be hot dogs. And this will still be hamburger. And now we want to see who likes pizza. So it's all here. This is pizza. Okay? So when you're looking at this diagram, you have 3 circles and then 4 shapes that overlap. Now, if we're talking about hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza, that's right, boys and girls, I like all 3. So my name doesn't just go here, or here, or here. That's right, when you like all 3 of something, it goes in the middle, in this shape right here. But Johnny, he again only likes hot dogs and hamburgers. So he would go in this space. And then down at the bottom over here, Emily said she only likes pizza and hamburgers. So Emily goes over here. In this space here. And well, Tom likes hot dogs and pizza. So he would come over here. In this shape. But then there's Molly. She still doesn't like any of them. So her name still goes out here. But Miss Miller told me that she only eats pizza. So Miss Miller goes here. See? It's as easy as that. Now, so Miss Miller is here. Molly, who doesn't like any of them, are here. I would be right there. Tom likes pizza and hamburgers. So think real quick. Where do you think Tom's name would go? That's right. Tom's name would go right there. Tom. And well, you know, Sarah, she only likes hot dogs. So Sarah goes over here. See? It's just as simple. You have friends that like 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things, or all of them, or any combination of thereof. That's what's great about Venn diagram. It's easy to see. It's very helpful when you read with math and all other kinds of things. We can organize shapes, lots of fun things. Now, boys and girls, how could we use a Venn diagram to describe other things? What if we wanted to describe characters from a story? Could we compare them on a Venn diagram? Yeah, we could. We could take 2 characters and see what they have in common, see what they have what they are like that is different, and what they have in common. See, like this. We could compare myself and Mr. Walker, the PE coach. I'll be on the left. This is my circle. Now don't forget, you want it to be big enough to where you can fit your words. Like this. This will be my circle. And this will be Mr. Walker's. And don't forget, you need space in between for the things that the 2 characters or the 2 things have in common. I'll be over here. Miss Coker. And then over here, this will be Mr. Walker. Can we think of some things to describe me that's different from Mr. Walker? Like, I'm a girl and he's a boy. So, girl would go in my circle. And then if he's a boy or a man, that would go in his. But what's something that we have in common? Right, we are both teachers. That would go in the middle for both. And when you're using a Venn diagram, it's okay to use just 1 or 2 words to describe something. We don't need a whole sentence. And what I think is sometimes helpful is when we put a little dot in front of it so we know that it's kind of in a bullet form. So he's a boy or a man, and I'm a girl or a lady. What else? What about our hair color? Mr. Walker has brown hair. I have blonde hair. So So brown hair would go in his. Blonde hair would go in my circle. Blonde hair. What's something else that we have in common? Where do we both live? That's right, we both live in Tallahassee. So that's something that we have in common, which would go in the overlap space right here. So, we're both teachers, and we both live in Tallahassee. So all I'm going to write here is Tallahassee. Keep it short and simple. It's not a big space, so you don't have room for a whole long paragraph. What's something else that we have in common? We both are teachers. We both live in Tallahassee. And you know what? If I can remember correctly, Mr. Walker has a dog. I have a dog. That's something else we have in common. That would go in the middle. And lastly, we'll do one more of each. Mr. Walker is really tall. He's almost 6 feet and 5 inches tall. I am not that tall. I am only 5'2". So he would be tall. And I'm kind of short. So that would go in mine. Now let's review. Let's review the 2 circles that are different and what we have in common. I have 3 things over here to describe just me. I'm a girl or a lady. I have blonde hair, and I'm short. Well, Mr. Walker, he's a man or a boy. So that's one thing. He has brown hair, and he's tall. He is a vegetarian. So we'll do one more. I eat meat. So I am not a vegetarian. So that would not go in the middle. You can say over here something that I do. I eat meat. So, eats meat. Okay? So if we were to use this strategy with reading, how could we do it? That's right. We could do it to describe characters from the story, or we could describe 2 settings from 2 different stories, or even the same story. So tonight, when you're home, I want you to work on your own Venn diagram. I want you to think about a story that we've read lately, and you can either do the setting, which is where the story took place, and compare and contrast that, or you can take 2 characters and compare and contrast them. So, for homework, right over here, I want you to do 2 things. 1, I want you to write down your questions. If you have any questions, write them down. This is the best time to do it. And take notes. And tomorrow in class, when we're all together, we will review and answer all the questions about Venn diagrams that we have. And then, after you have all your questions written down, I want you to try your own Venn diagram. And don't forget, it's okay if you don't draw a perfect circle. This is practice. That's what it's for. We're going to practice more tomorrow. So tonight, I want you to use a Venn diagram of either 2 settings of a story or 2 different characters in a story. You can choose. So, I'll put Venn diagram. And you'll remember you can either do a setting or characters. You choose. All right, boys and girls, thanks for being a great audience, and I look forward to all your questions and sharing our Venn diagrams tomorrow. See you then.